want to chat just for a moment about quality control, specifically regarding listings. There are, in the MLS, offices that close 30 or 40%, maybe in the low 50s, out of every 100. And so is it the brand or is it the individual agents inside the brand? You take an example of an agent who closes 80% of the inventory they take. Now, a lot of agents say to me, I close 80%, I close more than that. Well, all you have to do is look at a CMA report by the MLS that basically has their agent ID. You run the sold properties for a year ago from today, and then you run the canceled, withdrawns, the expireds, whatever in your marketplace is things that were taken off the market. And you can see that I call those failed listings. So if you look at the closed solds, and let's say they had 20, and they had just 5 losses. Well, that's somebody actually batting 80%. But I've seen whole offices that are around 50%. And in other words, they have 100 listings they need just to close 50, because you can count on it, they're going to lose 50% of those. It's right in the MLS, just run the office ID or a specific agent, and you can see what's the frequency of the agents actually succeeding. Because again, generally when people talk about quality control and maybe a job approval rating, that they say, oh, my clients are really satisfied with me. Well, that's the good stories. But what about all the ones that slip through our fingers? The listings that we lost. And we just say, well, it's a tough economy. Well, at the right price, there's no such thing as a tough economy. There's just tough sellers. And if we start looking at listings, why they don't sell, I think we would all vote. It's the price. It's the price. It's the price. People say, well, it was the economy. It was the wrong price for the economy. If you drop the price to where the market value is, then that's the right price for that market time. But I don't want to give it away. If you're getting multiple offers, 5 listings over list price the day you listed it, it was probably below the market value if we're getting multiple offers. So this is about how do you close 20 transactions? And if a 20 out of 20 would be 100%. There is so much extra work involved to generate new business because certain agents are only closing 40% or 60%. In fact, if you wanted to close 20 transactions, you would need 33 listings because you're going to lose 13 if you're at 60%. In some regions, this is the exception, agents closing 60%. You're looking at the video going, Brian, that's not true. Just look in the MLS, unless you're in a hot marketplace, and you can show that the CMA report for solds and the CMA report for failed listings is like this. There's a lot of solds, barely any failed. You're going to see an agency or agent who's very successful at communicating the right price. But I've seen whole brands in the city hovering around 40-something, 50-something, and occasionally the low 60s. But I have not seen many firms at all hitting 70%. Because do you know how many listings you need to close 20? If you're hitting 70%, you still need 29. You need 29 listings to close 20. That means 9 losses that have buyers attached to them that go someplace else if your numbers are 70. So my challenge for you is not necessarily how much volume you're doing, but if given the opportunity, how often do you actually close the transaction? And again, agents are going, I close everything, Brian, that comes my way. Well, great. I've just seen the majority of agents, when you look at a whole office at a time, that, in fact, I've never seen a single office that was closing 70% or higher. And again, in order for that office to close 20 deals, or an agent there, you need 29 transactions because we have to budget a fallout of 9 because that's the historical performance. And our goal would be, can you take your number, if you're at 40, 50%, can you get it to 60? Can you make a commitment to communication, better pricing, get it to 60, and then to 70%, and then to 80%, to actually make that a goal. Not necessarily got more listing volume, But you take care of those people that you're communicating with, that you have the listing agreement with, and you close a higher percentage of those people. Yes, even those that are reluctant to accept the truth, but what the right price is. We need to get better at selecting the listings before they come in to make sure that the seller is coachable and ready before we bring the listing in. Versus you knew they were uncoachable, they were no way as far as doing the right price, they want their price. Those are the part-time jobs we should pass on. I only think we should take listings that we really believe we can sell. And I am not in agreement in that camp that says take every listing you can possibly get, because we don't want our competitor to have it. We want market share, bring in more listings. Even if they're overpriced, boss, even overpriced, go ahead and bring them in, because you may get a buyer off of it. Here's how I feel about it. We have a fiduciary responsibility to represent our sellers correctly. And when we say, represent them professionally, that we know in our heart that this listing is not going to close. It will not sell anywhere near that list price, and the seller is never going to drop it down. Now, this seller may have painted their house, replaced the carpet, told their kids that they're going to move, look at new school districts. They may have told all their friends. They spent time with a mortgage lender to get approved for a loan. They had the city out, whatever the case, doing inspections on the property. They got the house dialed up. You kick them out of the house for every showing that occurs in the property. You know it won't sell. I do not believe we should compromise and take a listing for our own benefit when we all know we have a fiduciary responsibility to represent them professionally, but we throw that out the window, essentially because I want the listing because I can get buyers off of it. All right, thanks for watching.